subscribers. Well, subscriber rate. Hit the fucking like button and subscribe if I knock your ass out, man. I ain't fucking with you, man.
UFC San Antonio. Yes, we have a fight night, not at the Apex. I think they're going to try to start doing this more, according to Dana White, so excited for that. Vera versus Sandhagen, fun main event. Very excited for this main event. I'll be breaking down the main card like always, providing free picks, leans, and what to avoid. Client card available after weigh-ins, so Friday afternoon. Systemsportscapping.com to receive that. Start profiting betting on the UFC long term and all sports. I handicap anywhere from 5 to 7 different sports. Beat the books long term. That's what I do. Treat it like an investment, similar to a stock model. That's the only way to beat the books with a system long term. I'm able to do that due to the prior knowledge that I have with sports, the system, and being in this game for about, 16, 17 years now through my YouTube channel, podcasts, articles, and sports networks working on over the years. System capping on all social media, winning tickets over there. I actually bet my bets, unlike some guys out there. Post tickets over there. Free play videos on Instagram and TikTok. And I also do post sports betting information and news updated on Twitter and Instagram. Let's do a UFC London recap. UFC London recap. I just missed out on a huge card due to Usman losing. Hats off to Edwards. Hats off to Edwards. Close fight, but he does keep the title winning at home. And I think for two reasons, right? One, Usman, yes, he was bringing the pressure. He was pressuring him and trying to get against the cage, but he wasn't successful on the takedowns. Usman, which I was a little surprised. I thought he would at least get the fight down to the ground 3 times at least. He only did once. And then also with Edwards' leg kicks, he threw a ton. He threw a ton of leg kicks that did hurt him. I think Usman was a bit hesitant to get knocked out again with that kick, right? So he wasn't as active. I could see, why, obviously, there was some value there with Edwards. I did mention in the video. I didn't go all in on Usman. It was focused around my May play. I did parlay that with Vettori. Vettori did win. I also did have Vettori by decision, so that cash. I also hit 3-fight favorites parlay, which is rare for me, but I did like a lot of favorites on this card. Most of them did hit, except Usman. So shout out to Edwards. Interesting to see what's going to happen there. I know there's some Kobe Covington top. Maybe Masvidal if he beats Burns. It's going to be a tough beat, but he could get there. So that division is going to be interesting. Can't wait to see what happens there. And Justin Gaethje and Fiziev. We knew it was going to be a fun fight. I stayed away from it. Close fight, but Justin Gaethje in the 3rd round. Outstanding. He was able to hurt Fiziev. His face was all beat up. Most guys that fight Gaethje's face is all beat up. And similar to the guy in the main event, we're going to talk about Chidi Vera. He does that to everyone's face as well. So exciting card. The main event, I wouldn't say was exciting. It was competitive, which is good. But obviously the co-main event was the fight of the night. No secret there. 2-1 card last week, but no profit due to Usman being in the focus play there. Still 70% for the year, guys. Now we're almost in April, and we're still at 70% for 2023. I'm happy about that. Just under 60 units in profit long term. 65% best bets, almost 6 years. I don't have a lot of best bets. Maybe a handful a year. None yet this year, but just waiting to pull the trigger on one shortly. PGA, another profitable card, making it 4 in a row, guys. Huge prop market last week, hitting a big ticket winner with Fleetwood plus 550 as the top Euro. We hit a T20 on Spieth, McCarthy as well, top 20 plus money. Over 76 units in the prop market long term, 4 units in 2020, outrights in 2023, and 4-0 matchup run right now. We have a big card for this matchup play event, WGC Dell match play. Betting matchups every day. You can jump on board anytime if you like. Matchups throughout the week. NHL, clean week last week with 2 plays, going 2-0. Oilers in a good spot, and the Kings at home continue to keep that high win percentage long term. Last 2 years, which is never easy to do, but the system allows us to keep that range around 65% to 67% range long term. Goals, the top goal, my top highest goal, 70% always, and be able to do that throughout the year. Difficult to do it through 2 years, but I can hit 70% for a full year. I've done it multiple times in multiple sports. NBA, clean week, 1 winner on the Suns, 1-0, very low volume in the NBA. NFL reminder, quick one here, over 60 units in profit the last 2 years. We know we had the huge playoffs last season, profitable all weekends in the playoffs and big future playoff market with the KC over the Eagles in the finals, couple other hit as well. Regular season, very up and down last year, and no profit in the future market during the regular season, but the playoffs made up for that. And a profitable season, of course. Like this video, guys. Like this video. It helps me out a ton. Let's hear from my friend Meredith before we get into this card.
Guys, Meredith Gorman here, and are you still not subscribed to Matt's channel? Well, if you're not, hit the subscribe button because he's giving out free picks each and every week. Hope you have a good rest of your day.
Shop around, guys. Have multiple books to get the best price. Props vary from book to book. Prices vary from book to book. Have multiple, check them, bet the best number. It's that simple. Main event, Vera plus 140 versus Sandhagen minus 170. This is an exciting fight. Very excited for this fight. Winner should get a title shot, or at least Sean O'Malley. The division, obviously, we know Sterling and Henry Cejudo is going to fight. I think winner of this should get it, but I think O'Malley might get. I don't know what's going to happen. We're going to have to see. I would love to see winner of this get O'Malley. And then winner gets a title shot. That's what should happen here. We will see, though. You know, I've learned over the last couple years now, maybe more of a year, avoid betting against Chidi Vera. I have in the past. I've had bet with him and bet without him. Anytime I bet with him, I usually was hitting. Obviously, on a nice winning streak here. But I have bet against him in the past, and it backfired. And just getting him at plus money here, and he comes and fights for his money, I got to continue to back him. Just, he's so confident getting into these fights. Very hard worker. The hard work is paying off. His training. He has 4 fights, win streak right now in a row. Grant, Edgar, Font, and Cruz. Obviously, the last 2 are very impressive. Edgar's impressive as well towards the end of his career, though Font was in his prime. You know, people were talking about Font being the next guy. Who came in? Vera. I think that's the fight I was on. I was on Font in that fight. And lost that because I thought Font was going to be that guy. Vera came in, step in. I was on Vera over Cruz, and he was able to get a finish there with that nice head kick. He has been changing his opponent's faces. I mentioned that on the top of the fight. Excellent kicker, striker. Not much of a wrestler, but he can hold his own in the takedown defense. I don't expect Sandhagen really to wrestle here, even though we have seen it from time to time, especially in the Sadong fight. I could see, this just staying on the feet for 5 rounds and going to the judges' scorecards or a late finish, right? I expect this to play out on the feet for the most part. Corey's coming off a big win over Song. Some say, he was losing in that fight early. Remember, guys, and then he caught him late, a couple of nice shots, and it was a TKO stoppage due to the cut. But it was a much-needed win after back-to-back losses over Jan and Dillashaw for Corey Sandhagen. I like Corey. His volume could win him this fight, and that's what I'm worried about here. I am backing Vera, if you haven't noticed from the earlier comments, due to the value at plus 140. I have this fight closer to 50-50, so I do see some value here with Vera. Right, there is value here with Vera plus 140. Just a guy I don't want to bet against. I'd rather have a ticket at plus 140 on Vera than Sandhagen minus 170. Now, where I see Corey winning this fight is his volume. His volume is very high, over 6 significant strikes per minute. That's very high compared to Vera's just over 4. I can see if this does get to the scorecards, it being very close, guys. This fight's going to be very close, in my opinion. I have it as maybe minus 110, maybe Sandhagen minus 120 favorite. I have it very close. I don't have it at this line. I make lines before I look at fights. I had this as very close to even. So there's value here with Vera plus 140. Yes, of course Corey could win this fight. Due to his volume. He could out-volume him, possibly try to work in some grappling. I just don't think Corey Sandhagen is going to be able to get the fight down to the ground. Right? So that's why I would have to look at this fight staying on the feet for 5 rounds. And if it does stay on the feet for 5 rounds, what I can see is maybe Corey Sandhagen landing more shots, but Vera landing the more powerful shots, the more significant shots, and maybe hurting Corey Sandhagen during that process. Right? So Vera winning by damage. That's what I could see. If you want to even improve the price at plus 140, you can get, Vera by decision and improve it even a lot more than this plus 140. But could Vera hurt Sandhagen on the feet and finish him? I don't think so. I don't see it. I've never saw it do anytime. Sandhagen was finished, obviously, was by submission by Sterling. Don't have to worry that here with Vera, I'm pretty sure. So you got to look at Vera by decision if you want to improve it. But the plus 140 is already the value there. So if I do bet this fight, it's going to be Vera. It's not going to be a large unit, but it's going to be Vera due to the value. And I just learned to avoid betting against Vera. He's a guy that will fight for your winning ticket. So I'll be probably backing Vera in some capacity here due to the price. But yeah, Corey could win this fight. I just don't like it at minus 170. Right? He's going to have to win this fight with volume. I don't see him finishing Vera, knock him out on the feet or anything like that. I just see him, if Sandhagen does win this fight, it's going to be due to his volume. But I do like Vera just landing the bigger shots, more significant shots, and doing more damage. And that's how I think he wins this fight here. Holly Holm is back, minus 225 versus Santos, plus 185. Love to always see Holly back, right? Great ambassador for the sport. I always like to see her in the cage when she gets in there. She obviously had that long layoff. But now she's coming into this fight on a 3-fight win streak. Obviously, she came back. Before that, she was coming into this fight on a 3-fight win streak, but then lost, right? She lost that one fight to Vera. I thought she won that fight that makes it a 3-fight win streak. Sorry, I misspoke there. She should be on a 3-fight win streak, but lost that fight, split decision to Vera. I thought she won that fight. She won the 2 fights before that against Aldana and Pennington, high-level girls, top of this division. Obviously, that was back in 2020. I thought she came back and looked pretty good in that last fight against Vera. She just ended up losing the fight on the judges' scorecards. Santos, who just got married to Thiago Santos. That's why the name has changed. We know Yana from prior fights, haven't fought for a little bit. She's coming off a KO loss to Aldana. So the wedding too, a little bit of a distraction. They're not too sure how much she's been training. I have to look at Holm here. I don't like the price at minus 225, but I do like the Holm commitment here. She just signed a larger deal with the UFC, guys. 5-6 fights, I'm pretty sure it was. I think she wins this fight here, and I do think it's going to be maybe not just on the feet. I think on the feet it'd be fairly close. I think she gets this fight down to the ground. Yana can be taken down to the ground at times. I do think Holm has improved her wrestling and does go to that more. So I do think Holm just pretty much better everywhere. Even on the feet, I have a slight advantage for Holm, even though I think it would be a close fight if it went 3 rounds on the feet. I do think Holm's just a little bit better everywhere. And I do think she could get this down to the ground. I think she can bully her against the cage. And I do think she has a strength advantage here. So I can't, even though that plus 185 on a women's MMA fight is intriguing, I have to look at Holm. I have to look at Holm here. If I bet it, it'd probably be by decision if you're asking an outcome here. But yeah, Holm could fit into a 2-fight parlay for me this weekend for clients. This is a fun one. Nate Landwehr, minus 240 versus Lingo, plus 190. You know these two are going to come in the middle and start banging. Nate, the train Landwehr, is on a tear right now, looking great. Back-to-back big wins over the prospect Onama and previous against Klein, right? Dangerous striker. Onama, I think, was more of a surprise. A lot of people had Onama as a top prospect. I would say this matchup is a downgrade for him, though, compared to his previous opponents. Lingo, tough guy. He could catch Landwehr, of course. I think that's the only way he wins this fight. I think Landwehr could even bring Lingo down to the ground if he wants, so I think his pace could be a little too much. Lingo is on a 2-fight win streak, but very low-level guys, Saldana and Kilborn. Lingo was supposed to fight in the last 2 fights. He got pulled out. So both these guys are kind of taking this on short notice, but have been preparing for an opponent. Lingo has just been changed 3 times. So keep that in mind. That could affect him. One thing here where I may just probably avoid this bet. If I do bet this fight, it'll probably be Landwehr in some capacity. It's going to be Lingo's fighting at home. He's a Texas native. That could benefit somebody. Point. He's still 9-1. Fairly decent guy, and he could catch Landwehr. Landwehr does come in, obviously, very hittable. So if he does get hit and does get caught, he could get checked with that chin, but I got to go Landwehr here. Due to his recent opponents looking great, looking the best he's had for a while. We know he can take the punishment if it comes. And Lingo just hasn't beat anyone that impresses me as of yet. But keep in mind, Lingo fighting at home, 2-fight win streak. This probably won't make my client card, but for video purposes, I'm going to take a shot here at Landwehr. Lee, plus 230 versus Barber, minus 280. Barber coming off a 3 straight wins against some good girls in there. One being Miranda Maverick, a top prospect. I love when they made that fight. 2 prospects fighting early on in their career. Lee, I was never that high on, coming off a loss against Arroyo, who I'm not super high on. Barber's path in this fight is obviously to wrestle, get this fight down to the ground. That's what I think she should do. She should use her intimidation and her strength to win this fight. If this fight stays on the feet, Lee could sneak off a decision. So I think Barber needs to focus on getting this fight down to the ground, and I think that's what she's going to do here. I think she's going to be a bit stronger than Lee. I think she's going to be able to even use the cage presence, similar to like I said in the home fight. And I think Barber just gets it done. She still, I think, one day could get a title shot. She's still super young. Lee, like I mentioned, I'm not high on, but does have a path to win by points if the fight can stay on the feet. So I expect Barber to get this fight down to the ground, work hard to get this fight down to the ground. Again, minus 280, women's MMA, not excited. Maybe look at Barber to get the decision win, improve that price, or try to fit in a 2-fight parlay. But I like Barber in this spot. Like I mentioned. If this fight stays on the feet for 3 rounds, be a little worried because obviously Lee could sneak out a decision. But I think Barber mixes it up, gets it down to the ground, fights on the feet, and wins this fight by decision. So Barber could make my client card this weekend, probably via outcome by decision. Perez, plus 150 versus Kopp, minus 190. Tough fight here to get to the favorite due to the price of minus 190. If I were to bet this fight, probably won't make my client card. If it does, it would be a small unit on Perez at plus 150. 2 guys you could say going in different directions because Cap's obviously on that nice win streak after he has struggled early, losing both fights in the UFC to start his career, but has gone on a nice win streak here. Against lower level guys, Dvorak, Zurmagomedov, and Osborne, right? Perez is fighting the best of the best. Pantoja and the former champion in Figueroa. So you could look at it like that. You could look at Perez in a desperate situation here to get a win. And I don't think this line is warranted at this price, minus 190. I have Cap as a small favorite here. So there's value with Perez at plus 150. May make my client card for a smaller unit due to that. And one other thing here, I think Perez has a wrestling advantage here. If he can get this fight down to the ground, I think he does have a wrestling advantage here. If it's on the feet for 3 rounds, I think Cap wins due to his speed and athleticism. I think he's quicker in there. He has some nice striking. But if Perez makes it ugly, dirty, and wrestles, he can win this fight at plus 150. Value here on Perez. Last fight here to open up the main card. It's a fight that I'll be staying away from. I suggest you to as well. Nujikani minus 165 versus Durov plus 135. Both guys coming off losses here. Value obviously is with the Russian fighter here due to his wrestling advantage. He usually has a wrestling advantage versus most guys. Just can he do it for 3 rounds? Can his cardio last? That's always the question. Right, the Nigerian fighter, he is a Nigerian American. He has been improving his takedown defense. I noticed that he has got a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, so he does have some grappling. It's just if the Russian decides to just hold him down, can he hold him down for a long period of time to win this fight? That's the question here. Right, that's the question you're going to be banking on. And obviously, if this fight stays on the feet, Njoku has a huge striking advantage. Huge striking advantage. So that's going to be the question here. Can he keep it on the feet? I don't know, right? I don't know if he's going to be able to keep it on the feet for the most part. So I'm staying away from this fight due to that. There's a few unknowns that I not feel comfortable to put my own hard-earned money on, or my clients' money, or even free viewers for the card. So I'll be staying away from this fight to start off the main card. Could be an interesting one, though, if it does go, from the ground to the feet to the ground, and it's a mix-up and it goes 3 rounds. Could be an interesting fight, but I'll be staying away. I lean the kickboxer in Chidi. His first name is probably the best UFC first name in the company. That will do it. That will do it, guys. UFC San Antonio. Fairly good card. Nothing to really complain about. Love the main event. Looking forward to that. We may have a close decision there, so be careful putting a big unit on it. That will do it, guys. Like I always say, bet smart and know your limits. Take care.